Hello everyone and welcome back to another Universe Sandbox video, and today we're going to be doing another birth to death solar system. In this one I'm thinking we need to make pretty crazy, because the last time we had quite a stable system, so this time I'm thinking we go for something really insane. I'm thinking lots of gas giants, lots of rocky planets, unstable orbits, ejections, pure carnage. So without further ado, let's get straight into this. So star-wise, I'm thinking we're going to go for a big star this time. We usually go with more sun-like sort of sizes, but this time I want to go for a star that has quite a lot of mass. So I'm going to pick maybe a star like Rigel to sort of build off originally. So I'm going to spawn Rigel straight in. There we go. So we need to sort of devolve this like we normally do. So this one's got 21 masses of sun. So this is an enormous star to work with, and way more than we normally do. So first of all, we need to make de-age Rigel effectively here. So what we're going to do is we need to leave the mass alone. So we need to go to density, we're going to lock the mass, and then size-wise we're going to make it smaller, because we need to make Rigel a younger star. So we're going to make it still, it's going to make, even at a baby star size, we're still going to make it bigger than the sun here. I think it does need to be something like that. Luminosity, again, it's not going to be crazy to begin off with, but I'm going to put it maybe just under a sun to start off with in its young form. And then down here as well, yeah, I think maybe a little less. So it's always going to be a bigger star than what a normal sun-like size. It's got a lot of mass. It means that this star will age fast. It will get pretty crazy. So there you go. There is Rigel. So should be interesting here. Press play, make sure it's all function. So that is our young star. So there we go. But again, if you've not seen a birth to death system before, this is basically where we build a solar system from scratch, and we evolve it over time as the system gets older. We make the star get older over time, and also the orbits, they may eject planets and stuff out, and there's nothing we can do to intervene, really. What runs in the simulation is what goes. The only manual interference we do is evolving the star, resetting the simulation if it like breaks or glitches out, or if we're just customizing planets. But the initial orbits and stuff, we have no power over whatsoever. We let the simulation run in due time, which is a cool format. So there we go. But anyways, there is Rigel. So that is our base star that we're going to work with. So I'm immediately going to save the system, and we're going to call it, but B to D. I'm assuming we don't have, we'll just replace it, that's fine. So a new birth to death system. We've got our new Rigel star here. Now what I'm going to do as well is to make things interesting, I always like to make the simulation temperature higher at the beginning to kind of show that, you know, the planets are forming. It's quite hot out here. So temperature, there we go. So the background temperature, we're going to put that up to say 1000 degrees. So as the planets form, they will all be hot in temperature. So there you go. Cool. Now, planet-wise, I'm thinking we're going to use a few template objects this time, because we haven't used them in a while. Last time we made them all custom curations, but this time I think we'll have a few returning faces in here, because we always like to have a few of those. So should be interesting. Right, anyways, let's look at the zone as well, because the zone will be important for Rigel. So planet-wise, what are we thinking? It's not often we haven't used a template for quite a while, so it'd be good to have some of those back. So I'm thinking, first off, I think we're going to go with one of the Nixus planets here. They're always quite fun to work with. I'm going to place one there. So that's our first planet in the simulation. Cool. Again, down here though. Could go with a good old Pascal. We haven't had one of those in a while. That could be always quite interesting to use. Maybe I'll build a new Pascal actually, because we haven't had one in quite a while. So I'm going to spare the new Rocky planet in. So we're going to go with a random Rocky. I'm going to place that, say, there. Cool. So that's 2 Rocky planets to begin with. Let's put trail orbits on. There we go. Cool. Down here as well, the very young planet from Demonic. That's always a cool object to run with. We'll have that quite close to the star there. Okay, we'll throw a few competition planets in here. I think that could be quite cool as well. Okay, down here, what else have we got to use? I mean, there's so many cool planets to work with. I mean, it's always difficult picking between all these. There's that new gas giant from that recent subscriber system I wouldn't mind throwing in. I know it begins with an A, so it should be in here somewhere. There is Ander. I'm going to spawn that quite far out as an ice giant. We're going to put that at a reasonable distance. I think maybe a good sort of 70 AU. But we're also going to have quite a lot of ice giants in that region. We're going to see what happens. So I'm going to place a lot of those in there. I need to probably change their stats a bit. We don't want to make anything too insane. But, you know, I'm going to have quite a... I'm going to put 4 ice giants in here. Maybe 5. We'll go with a 5th one. We'll have one quite close to the star. Maybe it's an ice giant that's formed a little closer in there. Then we also need our normal gas giants. So we're also going to have some of those in here. So going to be very interesting. This is going to be a very unstable system, because I'm going all in here. I'm going to make this really crazy. So where else could we go with? We have the gas world, why not? Let's have a very, very big list of gas giants in here. This is going to get ridiculous. Very, very insane. I think this is probably going to end in total disaster. But that's what we want to see. We haven't had a birth to death with this much craziness before. So I'm very keen to see what sort of craziness we can unfold in here. Let's go with that one as well. There we go. So we've got a decent range of gas and ice giants in there. I think that's a good range. And then onto the rocky planets again. We need some more in here. So let's go over the world of water. Always nice to have some sort of more rocky generic worlds in here. The world of weather, again, could be an interesting concept. The world of light, that's a cool one. We're going to spawn that in there. The world of earth and dirt. So some of the elemental planets, we'll use some of those. The world of darkness, we're going to spawn that far out. Over there. Again, we can have maybe a few more gas giants on sort of the depths of the system as well. So I'm going to spawn some things pretty far out. Maybe some ones there. But these objects and orbits are going to get ruined really quick once we start playing this simulation. I can always guarantee it that's going to happen. So we're going to have a very big list of stuff in here. Then we'll have a few more sort of random Rockies thrown in as well. So we're going to spawn them in. But it's a very, very busy system to start off with here. So things are going to get insanely crazy very quickly. We're going to spawn a few sort of Rockies in between the gas giant regions as well. I mean, this is going to be absolutely berserk crazy once we start running this properly. So there we go. I think that's a good sort of lineup for our system. And you know what? To tip things off, we're going to have a brown dwarf on the edge of the system as well for extra carnage. So I'm going to go with the brown gasser. I think that, or the red. Oh, yeah, brown. We'll have a brown dwarf gasser at the very end. So we're going to put a brown dwarf there. Keeping the end of the solar system in check almost. So we're going to place that there. There you go. So there is your lineup. So if we look here, everyone's going to be very hot. They're all forming at this point in the system. It's a young system. All the planets are newly formed. The orbits are all nice and clear. But that is our system curated initially. Once we cool things down, we will get to customizing some of these. Remember though, some of the mass of these objects are going to be extremely high. So I do need to double check the mass of a lot of these gas giants. So first of all, down here, let's, oh my gosh, okay, right, radius. Look how big our, so gas world 2, this is an enormous rocky planet. It's 12 masses of Jupiter. So I think we probably will need to nerf that a bit because that may be a little too crazy. So I'm going to do that because the brown dwarf, there's the brown dwarf. So yeah, the brown dwarf, it's a little smaller on the brown dwarf scale, but it's still got a large mass to it. There's no sort of set size of how big a brown dwarf really needs to be, but I am going to nerf the size of this gas giant down a bit because I think that's a little too much. We can have it bigger than the brown dwarf though, there's no problem there. 0.5 Jupiter, so I just want to see who's the most massive. So brown dwarf is obviously going to have the most. That just makes the most sense. I'm going to double that to 50 Jupiters. So our most dominant gas giant looks to be one of the ice giants actually. 14 Jupiter masses there, I think we could probably get away with that. 9 Jupiter masses for this one. Again, that's quite a large one. We'll give that a large trail. This one's at 0.5. So a lot of the gas giants are under a Jupiter mass. I mean, to be honest, that's fine. That's not a big problem. This one's quite large, but not so massive as we can see here. That's quite interesting. Yeah, look at that mass-wise. So if you put it to 1 Jupiter mass. Some of these have some weird customization options, don't they? So 1 Jupiter mass, it's only 6 radius of Earth here. Interesting. Look how that sort of works. That is very, very bizarre. So it's a low mass, but it's quite a large world. But again, the size of the object doesn't mean much. So some of the rocky planets are actually kind of mixed in with the gas giants. We've got some very heavy rocky planets here. So it'd be interesting to see how they sort of play out as this runs. Okay. Boss 6 species, 0.5 Jupiters. This one's at 9 Jupiters. We've got a massive junk there. I'm going to lower some of these down. We're going to have them all too crazy. We're still going to have some objects in a decent race. So 7 massive Jupiter. That is our dominant gas giant. So I'm going to put that in a bright, deep blue. So we know that is one of the dominants. This one here as well. I'm going to give this a deep red trail. That's also one of the dominant gas giants. 2 massive Jupiter. Maybe we'll buff that a little bit more. Put it up to 3.45. This one here is only 0.5. I think we'll make this one of the dominants as well. We're going to put that up to 1 Jupiter, 1.38 Jupiter masses. So there we go. We're going to give that a deep red colour as well. And then onto the wet objects behind there, only 0.3. So again, I'm going to double that up to 0.6. Make everyone a little more interesting. And I think we're going to roll with that. We can't have them all at 1 Jupiter mass because that just causes pure carnage. But there we go. So I think that's a decent lineup of objects there. If we go back to radius now. That's a decent lineup, I think, there. Looking great. The rocky planets there. Got a decent chunk of those as well. So we're going to zoom out. And there you go. So, that is our system formed. We're going to throw a save in for obvious reasons. We're going to let it run a little bit. Then we're going to cool the background down and then get to customizing some of these random ones because I would like to do that. So let's just let it run. So we're still in early days. The system has just formed. But we're going to see as any carnage unfolds because I don't think that this is going to go too well once we really speed this up. So there we go. Okay. There we go. So it looks so far so good. But yeah, as time goes on, we are going to slow down the system temperature stat. Is going to cool down now. We're going to go all the way back to sort of normal background temperatures there. So everyone has time to cool down now and form into what they're going to look like. Looking good. Again, we're going to throw a system save in as well. Now that has happened. There you go. So we've got our very young Rigel star in the centre there. Still in its sort of proto-star phase, but that is going to come out of that very soon once we finish customizing. As Rigel will get big, it will engulf a lot of these inner planets. So we are going to have to watch out for that. We've got our brown dwarf at the far distance there, 50 Jupiter mass, looking pretty cool. Even got its brown colour with its special modded colour palette on it, so looking pretty cool. So if we look at our lineup now, there you go, so looking pretty cool. Brown dwarf looking pretty menacing there. If we go to mass, so our dominant gas giant is actually this object here. So if we have a look out here, there it is. It's all by itself. It looks like it's already causing problems with one of the other gas giants here. We've not even barely got started, and this gas giant's already having a problem. And this one's got 0.6 Jupiter masses alone. So if that gets slinged around a bit, that's going to cause some problems. Okay. What's 6B? One of the other dominant. This is one of the most dominant ones there. And then we got the Giga one as well. That's looking pretty menacing as well. Pretty cool. And I do think actually, is this a little close to the start? I may actually rebuff that. I'm going to double that. Was 6B as well. Again, I think I'm going to double you as well. This one here, I'm going to leave alone. That's still the most dominant there, the dark blue. Okay, so keep an eye on the blue, the orange, and the red. They're pretty menacing. But down here, we want to get to customizing some of the worlds that weren't customized. So we've got a very young planet here. That's the closest to Rigel so far. The Munich one. I'm going to give it an atmosphere, though. This one's always a cool one to work with. I really like the way it's themed. Like massive crater on it as well. This is always a good one to work with customizing. But yeah, I do want to give it an atmosphere of some kind. So where is it? Surface down here. I would like an atmosphere, please. Where's the atmosphere settings? There you go. Cool. ATM. We're going to go over a heavy one. We're going to go 2.1. Oh, wow. Atmosphere freezes it, does it? Okay, interesting. Clouds on. Oh, yeah. So, looking pretty menacing. I'm going to give it sort of dark, sort of... Yeah, that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Sort of deeper clouds. Atmosphere colour itself. Custom, yep. Do I thicken it? Colour-wise, maybe like a steam, almost like a steamy atmosphere. I'm going to go with that. Quite a lot of steam sort of flowing up here. An interesting world underneath. I don't know why it has ice and snow on it. I don't think it even has water. I'm assuming it doesn't. It has nitrogen, though. Maybe that was frozen nitrogen on it. I'm not entirely sure. Let's have a look. Atmosphere layers. I'm guessing this is going to be quite warm. It would make sense. It's still close to the parent star. It should be having a bit of temperature. Albedo, we're going to cool that down. Put it into the red already. Get a bit of temperature going on this guy here. Looking pretty cool. Okay, there you go. Next world out. We've got a Nixus here. Again, this is obviously going to be... You know what these worlds are normally like. We usually turn these into Venus-like worlds. So we're going to have that thick atmosphere already on it. I tell you what, a two-tone atmosphere on this could be quite interesting. Oh, yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. Atmosphere colour itself. Oh my gosh, that does look pretty cool. Oh, a two-tone. It's always good to do the customizing in these systems. That's why I like doing these systems so much. You get to run the simulation, you can customize all before you get going. It's always so great making these. These are always so much fun. So, hope you guys are enjoying it as well. And if you haven't already, hit that like button because this is going to turn out to be a pretty crazy one, I think. So, definitely make sure you stay tuned and watch all the episodes of this when they come out in the coming weeks because this is going to be pretty insane. I do like the two-tone atmosphere. That does look pretty awesome. Maybe go for a more yellowy shape. If we increase the thickness. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's going to be quite the world underneath. Let's look at its cloud settings because they're not even at max. Look, we can make them just insane. So, a truly horrific looking world underneath for sure. Look at that opacity settings. These are modded, remember. You can't do this in game. 9,000 opacity, which is how you get this in pure crazy cloud looking appearance. So we're going to stick with that. One mass of Earth. Cool. Temperature though, I think it should be a little warmer. I mean, in theory, this should be even warmer than the first planet. We're going to lower the albedo. It's going to absorb a lot of light. Atmosphere, we're going to buff this up. Down here, for instance, layers. We're going to put this to 10, I think. That's going to be a hot world. Very hot world. Maybe not 10 to begin with, though. Maybe we'll start at 5. I think that's more fair. It's going to be warm, though. Definitely warm. Next planet out, what is this? This is one of a random generated world. It's already got oceans on it. 58 degrees though. So currently a world that effectively could have good conditions. But a world like this, being that close to a young star, I don't think this ocean world is going to last. It's a nice spawn to begin with. So it's spawned in and already has oceans. So a very early contender for life. But the issue is, as the system gets older, this isn't going to be around forever. So currently, it's a nice, it's already spawned with good conditions. It's got life likelihood on it. So a nice blue rocky world, but that's not going to last long. As you know with these systems, they are trouble. Next up, we've got Monas over here. Looking good. Again, another potential life candidate here. It's got good stats on it already, I'm guessing. Life likelihood, 90 similarity. Again, a great random spawn here. Vegetation, maybe we'll swap that on if it's realistic. Yes. If hatable. So currently this is in the green. Looking pretty good. But how long will it last is the question. So if we have a look down here, we'll give it a little more ocean level as well. Give it a little more sea. I think that looks cool. Nice little Earth world it's generated there, though. It's quite nice when you generate a fully Earth-like world from the get-go, isn't it? It looks good. We'll give it some thicker clouds, maybe. There you go. A nice Earth-like world to kick us off here. But again, it won't be around forever. Maybe we'll change the ocean colour, make it a little more interesting as well. There you go. Yeah. I quite like the lighter blue. It does look pretty good. But again, it may spawn in as a nice Earth-like world, but how long will it last for? Next up, we got one of the, this is one of the other Rockies. It's a very heavy world, 32 masses of Earth, so almost like a dominant rocky planet. Maybe we'll give it a little custom trail to sort of point it out. So the red shade, there you go. We're going to leave it the way it was customized, but I'm going to switch those city lights off. So a more generic looking rock, but we'll see how it changes with time. Next up, we've got this one here. Now, this is one I want to customize. I did want to customize one of these outer ones. So, I'm going to make this into a new version of Pascal, which is like my custom Earth that I've had for years. We're going to make a new variant of it. So, there we go. And these ones are always pretty cool. So, atmosphere, first of all, very, very thick. I'm going to make this a nice green shade. I always go with green for Pascal. So, we're going to obviously thin that down. I'm going to put this to 0. So, looking good already. Nice green. Cool. Next up, I want some oceans. And I need an atmosphere as well. So what atmosphere has this got? So let's have a look here. ATM. 50,000 ATM. I didn't generate that. That was a random generation. What is that all about? That's a humongous, enormous. How in the world did that generate with that? I have never seen that. That is madness. Okay, there you go though. Pretty insane stuff. Clouds. Down here. I want some storm clouds. Looking cool. There you are. And sparse, or we'll go with turbulent. That's a cool combo. Right, there you go. Next up, I need some oceans. Does it have water on it? It does. At the moment, it's probably going to be quite frozen, though. It is pretty far from the star. Let's have a look here. Sea level. I always forget where the buttons are. There's so many menus nowadays. So we're going to give it a bit of sea. I don't think it's going to be there yet, because we're going to melt quickly. There should be a sea here. There you go. So in the future, this will melt, but for now, it's just about customizing it, so it will obviously all freeze again once we run the simulation. So liquid, I'm going to go with a nice light blue. That's a little too green for my liking. More of a blue like that, yes, looking good. Very nice. Maybe a little, oh yeah, it's got to get it right. Somewhere. It's a little, the bar's a little laggy, so you kind of have to click it in the perfect spot, really. But I want more of a, oh, it's very difficult. Sort of a light blue like that, yes. And then down to the colours. I don't want vegetation on the sky. I'm going to give it a cool city light, so I like light blue city lights on my Pascal planets. And then down here, base colour, I want it as composition. Thank you. And custom, that's it. Now down here, I usually go with like a dark red kind of look for Pascal. With a sort of greenish sort of colour to it. Looking interesting so far. Oh, hello. Kind of sorting myself out, are we? Okay, we need to let it run for a bit. We're going very slow though, just so that it customize it, get itself into gear before we do more. I do want to change its surface map though. I would like to give it a Planet 15 because that's my favourite one to work with. I do like the craters you get with Planet 15. That's always a cool one. Surface. I'd like to lower the sea level, please, because that is a little too much. Oh, yeah, it's very high, isn't it? No wonder it is all doing that. There you go. Give it a little more surface there. Looking quite good now. I'm going to look underneath the atmosphere as well. Give them a nice, yes, that's a little too green. I want a little more red involved, I think. Is that high elevations? A lot of high elevation on this guy. Okay, I'm going to make the high elevation the deep sort of brownish red then. Down here. And then make this maybe more of the greenish shade. How does that colour blending go? Oh no, so the green is still a very dominant shade then, okay. Maybe make it a lighter red. So what if this goes green then? So the colours blend quite close together, actually, on second glance. Interesting. Then the bottom colour, you can't see that, so we'll keep that as maybe white. Okay, interesting. If we change the second map on the surface here, so let's go with maybe with a Venus. The Venus is always an interesting, because that's obviously going to reset out water again, so we need to settle the liquid. There you go. So that's what it looks like in its final form. So the green and red are a little more separate now. Okay. So make this a deeper red. Make the green maybe a little more potent on the green. There you go. That's more like what I'm after. Something like that. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe just dim it down a bit. Okay. There you go. Nice light blue. Vegetation. I don't want that on. Okay. Then atmosphere and clouds back on. Looking good. So you've got a nice green with the red surface and the light blue ocean. It's quite an interesting combination where I may actually do double storm on it. Because I do like the storm clouds. Keep them as white clouds. Looking good. It's 95 degrees so far. That's obviously all going to freeze now. And actually I'm going to make the ice colour the same as the water colour as well. So again, the ice colour kind of has that sort of frozen shade. Snow will keep us white. There you go. But again, this is going to freeze over time. It will freeze. It is too far from the star to retain any temperature. Rotational period. 1 day. Make it there. That's more like it. Keep it. So well, that's going to cool down. So we'll come back to Pascal at a later point because that is a future life candidate when the star does warm up. Because right now it is way too cold. Moving on. We've got the world of light. So I'm not sure what's happened to you. It looks like customization or game upgrades over time. The updates has kind of ruined this. Let's have a look. Atmosphere should be... It has no atmosphere. That's why... Let's give it its atmosphere back. It should already have its crazy settings as long as we give it its atmosphere. So let's give it its atmosphere back. Ooh, it may have lost its funky atmosphere. It used to be very reflective, this guy. Look, you can see here. Put this as 0 maybe. But it looks like it may have lost its special shade. Interesting. But we'll leave it there nonetheless. The world of light. Used to be a lot brighter if I remember correctly. Maybe in the future, maybe it'll be a world that could have possible life on it. I don't know, maybe we'll give it a splash of water. Why not? Maybe just a tad bit of water thrown in there. One mass of water, yeah? One mass of earth water? Not sure about that. Maybe we'll give it a bit of sea level though. So in the future, maybe this will be a... it's got quite a lot of atmosphere layers, but maybe in the future this will warm up to be a nice sort of Earth-like world. It has got an ocean underneath there with that water, by the looks of things. Under the clouds? Or does it? Interesting. I'm guessing because the water hasn't really materialised yet. Let's have a just look at it in its paused state. It's got a very weird height map on it, by the looks. It looks like it could be an all-ocean world at some point. Maybe we need to change those... Yeah, there you go. Look, it had some weird texture on it. It had a flat texture. Because it was a modded world. Interesting. There you go. We'll give that... That will reset it, giving it new surface stats. So settle liquid. There you go. So in the future, again, we'll put the vegetation on if it is hattable. So down here, vegetation, if hattable is on. So when it's hattable, it will look like this. But for now... Yeah, for now, it is going to be if hattable. So in the future, this world could warm up and have a nice looking appearance underneath those clouds. We'll lower that bit. There you go. So there is the world of light. Now, moving on. Got a few more random Rockies. I'm not going to customize every single one of these, but, you know, we'll give them maybe a few little distinguishing features. So again, we'll give them maybe just a different surface texture or something, just to make it look a little more interesting. So give it like a Venus. Maybe a Venus in Europa look could be quite interesting. A lot of cracked looking surface. And Europa, there you go. Then to the visuals, if I go down here, we turn up the exaggerated terrain, make it look pretty bashed up in a way. Yeah, look at that, a heavy mountainous world, very interesting looking thing there. There you go, I'll stick with that. So that's Po Manor, and then the other rocky world here, we'll leave that as well. Got to have some generic looking worlds. A world of Earth, so this is just dirt and yeah, so not really much going on there. Kind of like a desolate wasteland without any water. Another generic Rocky. So we'll keep the few generic Rockies. We've got the weather world here. So this one has pretty turbulent weather. Again, we don't need to add water to that. With the world of water, that's all frozen. So obviously in the future that will warm up. Got this one here, another random generator. We'll leave that alone. And then onto the gas giants. We've got the first. So this is an ice giant. It's actually closer than all the gas giants. That's by the user minute. Looking good. Cool. Then we got the Giga Planet, so that's the 6th Jupiter mass. That is going to be a monster at causing mayhem in the outer solar system. I guess the outer solar system probably starts from this world here. So anything further out than this is probably outer system at this point. We've got a few more Rockies. Those Rockies are going to get torn all over the place. You watch. This one's a nice looking world. It's got the two-tone dark spot effect on it. Looking pretty cool. Very exotic colours on it. Very nice. That's one of the ice giants. We've got Ander here. That's from our recent subscriber system from Nick. So we're getting that thrown in here as well. Nice planet Nick made. So I thought I'd include it in here. It's a nice looking world. It's a nice looking world. There you go. Nice purple trail for it. Or indigo colour trail. You can already see there's chaos over here. Something's going on with Enfer here. One of the ice giants mixing with the dominant gas giant there. Pretty crazy. Then further out, it's mainly dwarf planets. Got the world of darkness. Looks like it's lost its atmosphere though. Let's give it its atmosphere back. All these objects from older versions of the game, you always have to add their atmospheres back. A little annoying, but that's just the way the game converts files. Give it 1080m. There's its atmosphere back. Looking pretty monstrous as always. There you go. That's more like it. Cool. So the world of darkness. Then more, maybe we'll give it a darker trail as well. Make sure it's not too hard to see, but we'll make it darker there. And then another gas giant over here. 7 masses of Earth. I'm actually going to buff that a little more. 0.1 Jupiters. Maybe have it a little more presence in the outer system. And then the gas of brown dwarf at the very end. So there is our system curated and everyone customized as we wish. So we're going to go ahead and save. There you go. Looking good. Alrighty. So now, we'll let the simulation run for a bit and we're going to start seeing some chaos unfold. So, let's do this. So, in the very young system so far, now we can start to see there's chaos. I mean, we can already see some action here. So, we're going to see... Oh, yeah. Oh, dear. Already, within seconds, you can see chaos, trouble. Already got some trouble. Bent orbits already. Okay, let's see if we continue speeding the simulation up. So that's gonna. Those two are not gonna last. I don't think Enfer is gonna be around forever. It's it's sharing an orbit very close to the dominant gas giant. Luckily, though, it's on a similar plane, so it will take a while for the gas giants to meet again because they'll be on opposite sides of the star. It's going to take a while for that to catch up and go round again. But I think dominant gas giant will be having some problems and causing chaos with that enormous mass it has. I mean, 7 mass reducer. That's an enormous mass it's sitting on there, so it could be pretty hectic. We've got an enormous line of things in here, so pretty crazy. The inner system, how's the inner system doing? Looking pretty stable so far. How's our temperature? I mean, we should start to see some temperature raise here. Minus 28 degrees. Are you sure about that? It's on the edge of the red zone. Interesting. So a steamy world though, isn't it? We'll lower that opacity down a little bit. Just thin that atmosphere down. There you go. Next world out. This one here, minus 83. In Nixus, this one should be 135. That's the hottest planet by far, that big greenhouse effect. So again, we've got a lot more of these other Rockies in here. How's Pascal? That should probably cool down by now. Minus 119, so in the future that will melt and hopefully we'll see some life there. Okay, and that's everyone else further out. So, the inner system, pretty frozen up so far. But remember, this is Rigel. This has 21 masses of sun. Once this star gets going, and once we start evolving the star, it will age fast. It's got a lot more mass, meaning it will burn through its hydrogen fuel faster. So, it's going to be pretty wild. Hydrogen and helium, obviously, already got a very large amount built in there. So, it's going to be pretty hectic. Again, let's continue running the simulation. Watch those outer planets' orbits. You can already see there's a bit of a wobble. Brown dwarf will keep everyone in check in the outer regions, though. We will see. But yeah, I reckon there's going to be changes. Oh, you can see there's a few interactions going on down there. I just saw this purple one here, and that just had an interaction with the dominant gas giant. I think I'm going to make the dominant gas giant just a little brighter so we can really distinguish it. So I'm going to give it that really light blue. There you go, so you can see where he is and what problems he's causing. So there we go. He's catching up Enfer again, and I do think that is going to be a problem for Enfer as it slings by. Is it going to be? Oh, it has. Oh, they're sharing a very close orbit. Look at that. It's bending it around, and that could cause, if that slings it in the inner solar system, that could cause some problems. But you can see they're slowly wobbling as they interact. It's pretty wild. It's also interacting with this one here, the Ander as well. So it looks like Anders escaped the thing there. There's Enfer again. It's swinging by. Is it going to do anything? Oh, it swings by. Oh. Again, it could be a very hectic. You can see the system is wobbling, though. Those spherical orbits are not going to last forever. You can see, oh, it's interactions. Oh, it's definitely going to cause some chaos, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Pretty insane stuff. Okay. Oblits to Warbin. Remember, if they go into the brown dwarf's orbit, the brown dwarf could deal with them very quick as well, because that's got even more mass than the dominant gas giant has. So, going to cause a lot of chaos out there. But again, while we're here, let's slow it down. Rigel does need to evolve. We can't have it sitting in its young stage forever. So Rigel will start to age now. We're just going to get bigger and more powerful. So Rigel, remember this star effectively will become a blue star before it becomes a red supergiant. So it is going to get pretty luminous. So straight away, luminosity, we're going to double that immediately. Radius, we're doubling that as well. Humongous size increase already for Rigel. So we're going to start to see what sort of temperature effects that has on the inner solar system, because we should start to see some changes now. 43 degrees already for our competition winner object here, the young planet. Nixus, this should already be in the 200s by now, yep. Then we got our blue one here. Minus 75 degrees, hasn't really got the temperature it needs yet. I'm guessing it's very reflective, which I'm guessing it shouldn't really have an albedo that high, really. I'm going to lower that down. I don't know why the game likes to spawn loads of highly reflective objects. I do think that world should have a bit of temperature by now. Next up, we've got Monas over here. Minus 206. Again, this world, I'm guessing, is very reflective. So we're going to do a bit of manual intervention here and lower that, because I think, you know, you shouldn't have all these worlds so reflective. They should absorb something. Next up, we've got Toy here. I think, again, this will be a world that absorbs a lot of light. So we're going to make sure that albedo is low. 0.09, so it absorbs a lot of the light. Then we've got Pascal over here, just on the edge of the blue zone so far. So it just needs a little more temperature to start warming up. So that is this sort of furthest the inner region will go. World of light, again, this world's in the edge of the blue. And then further out than that, I don't think the zone's going to reach, is it? Yeah. So the inner solar system really reaches out to the world of light, and then everything past that is basically outer system at that point so far. So, again, let's continue. Watch as the young Rigel starts to get older. Okay, again, let's continue with the watching the outer system, because that's probably where the action's going to be. I think I'm going to get the brown dwarf just a little more of a trail, just so we can sort of see him a little bit easier. You can see it's wobbling a bit, though. You can see there's a few orbits wobbling in there. Those outer dwarf planet worlds are going to definitely be having the feel the pain soon, that's for sure. If any gas giant gets slung out, that's going to cause dramatic consequences for a lot of these planets out here. So, there you go. Okay. Let's continue. Oh, they are wobbling. You know, it's only a matter of time before something it gets ejected. Or you can see that BB planet here. Our dominant gas giant. That is really going to cause problems. Oh yeah, that is a crazy object to have in here with that much mass. And it's definitely a matter of time before someone gets the wrong end of the stick and is going to get thrown in or outwards of the system. If you get thrown inwards, you may slingshot around the star. If you get thrown outwards, you may have an interaction with the brown dwarf, which could sink you out the system as well. So either way, there's no winning if this... Oh, you can see there, what was that? Enfer immediately thrown in further out. Look, its orbit is now slung further out. It still goes by the dominant gas giant, but it now has a longer furthest point from the star. Interesting. Not good, really. Not good. Oh, what's that? Oh, brown dwarf has slung out the banded planet. So that last gas giant has had an interaction with the brown dwarf, and brown dwarf has said, no, this is my space, and it has slung him out to a very elongated orbit. Almost like a Planet 9 kind of instance we've got going on there. So brown dwarf did not like that, and it was like, no, you get off my region, get off my orbit. And it has slung him out there. Not looking good for the banded planet over there. So that's already a consequence there. The brown dwarf's massive presence. You cannot mess with that brown dwarf. I can see here another orbit. What's that? We can see that Ander. Again, its orbit has been bent and buckled. Its orbit is now going more inwards as it approaches. You can see Emperor as well. That orbit has been bounced out by our dominant gas giant. So it's clearing its orbit slowly but surely. Oh dear. And now this blue one could have an interaction with Giga here. 6 masses of Jupiter. So again, it's escaped one of the dominant planets, and now it's getting closer to the Giga over here. If it goes near that red one, it's going to have an interaction as well. So not looking good for Ander so far. That's a very bad start for it. It's a poor old Nyx planet here from the recent subscriber system. I don't know if it's going to be around forever. It doesn't look promising so far. Not good. Okay, let's continue. See how... Oh, brown dwarf again. Look at that interaction. Oh, further out orbit now. Brown dwarf is not happy with that object being there. Not good. So there's a lot of objects controlling different regions of this system here. I think probably, obviously, it's the red planet there, Giga. You've obviously got BB, the dominant gas giant, and then you've got the brown dwarf. They are probably the 3 most dominant objects in this system that if you get near them, they're going to sling you around. And if you escape one, you could go into the clutches of another. So not looking good. I'm going to make this trail a little brighter because I can barely see it. Okay, that's better. Keep an eye on that. There you go. Alright. That orbit's getting bent. Oh dear. Yeah, you can already see, compared to the last burst of death, we are already seeing a lot more chaos with these orbits. We've given way more mass in this system. It's a larger star, therefore its planets can have more mass as well. So it is a truly... The system's getting very crooked very fast, isn't it? Oh dear. The outer dwarf planets are hanging on quite nicely. I'm surprised that the last gas giant, that one was actually the one that got grabbed by the brown dwarf, as it was the closest object to it. But yeah, the brown dwarf pulled away the more massive object first out of all those guys. So pretty extreme. Oh, those orbits are getting... That Empha's orbit getting bent and bashed around. Dear, oh dear. So poor old Empha and Ander, those two are just getting slung around everywhere. Those smaller ice giants interacting with that massive dominant... Or effectively the dominant ice giant, I should be calling it. But yeah, the dominant gas giant, the light blue trail there, that is truly causing problems for our system there. But I think next up, again, we're going to go back to our star here, and we're going to do the next stage of evolution before we finish up today's episode. So here we go. Again, make sure you always save these simulations, because things can get wild very fast in here. So there you go, there is it. Now, next up, Rigel. Again, we're going to be getting older. We're going to get bigger. Luminosity is going to get bigger as well. We're going to go up to 5 masses of sun now. I think surface temperature, we're going to put this up to 6,400 Kelvin. Oh, that's really buffed our... that changed luminosity real quick, didn't it? I'm not sure I want it that crazy so far. I'll put it to 6 then. There you go. But temperature-wise, there you go. So we'll let that sit around. I don't think we should mess with the temperature too much. But there you go. So Rigel's giving it a nice big buff there. We can always make it more white ourselves, really. Or maybe start to make it a little more blue ourselves, in theory. Give it a little more of a blue... That's it, Photos. That's all we want. So maybe make it ourselves, make it a little more blue looking so far. There you go. Oh yeah, so just maybe give it a tint of blue to it, just to make it look a little more. Because also we can't mess with the temperature too much, despite us wanting to make it hotter. We'll just manually make it look different color wise. There you go. So Rigel, looking pretty wild already. Cool. All right. There you go. So the next stage of star evolution is there. It is bigger now, so keep an eye on the inner system, because we're going to start seeing some high temperatures start to appear here. Maybe maybe the steam atmosphere sort of disappears now. Maybe the clouds sort of, slowly vanish as well, as there's not really much. Maybe its atmosphere is kind of being withered away in this point, you know, being close to the star like that. Remember, Rigel was a pretty dangerous star to be sitting nearby, so not looking too good for our young planet there. Next up, we got a Nixus here, 316 degrees, enormous zone on that. 272 degrees for this world here. So this world that was formerly more cold is now very high temperature. Remember, this was that ocean world that was it already had oceans on it from the get-go. We can see it, those oceans are not going to be around forever. You can start to see it, land is starting to appear on it. So those oceans are starting to evaporate, not looking too good. Maybe we give it a more of a red tone atmosphere, that red two-tone, because it does look cool. So maybe that ocean... Oh, it's such a cool appearance. I love that. I really do like that two-tone effect. It is so cool. So we're going to give it more of a reddish look, because I don't see its oceans lasting forever. So maybe we give it that red look to kind of show that temperature is starting to beat down on it. Looking cool, though. Next up, we've got Monas here. How are we doing here? Is this one 66 degrees? It's quite a thick, clouded world, isn't it? But it does have oceans underneath. You can see it never had many oceans to begin with, but I don't think they're going to be around forever, because they are probably evaporating at 66 degrees as well. Maybe we... thin down this atmosphere. Oh, I keep pressing the wrong button. No, don't do that. I want to thin it. There you go. Just so we can see a little down a little easier. There you go. There's Monas. Next up, we have got Toy. This is just a hot rock, isn't it? So not much there. It's 26 degrees. Then Pascal here, minus 144. We can start to see it. Some of it looks like it's melted a bit. So there's a few little areas that are melting. Well, that's periods of ice, isn't it, actually? Never mind. That's just the ice, isn't it? Yeah, it's ice. So, okay. They weren't there earlier, though. I'm pretty sure it was all white last time we looked at Pascal. It was all frozen. The world of light, the last of the inner solar system. How are we doing over here? 70 degrees at the world of light. So it does have a higher greenhouse effect than Pascal does. Interesting. Underneath, it's got its oceans on it. There you go. Hey. But it doesn't have its vegetation. So it's probably gone past the point of no return at this point. But there's the world of light. So there you go. Cool. Alrighty. Continuing on. Make sure we press that save button. Very important in this series. Always remember the saves. There we go. But let's continue as we finish up for today. So, let's evolve once more. Watch as the chaos unfolds. We'll go at a higher simulation speed. Let some real chaos unfold now. View it from the outer regions, because we need to see everything. There you go. Probably view it from here. I think that's a good point. There you go. Let things evolve. Look at those poor ice giants that are going to get bashed about by our dominant gas giant in there. They are not going to be too enjoying that. I'd like to see what happened if Ander gets close to Giga, though, the red one, because it could sort of pull it inwards a bit more. Maybe pull it away from BB, the dominant world, but it's still going to get pulled in by that other dominant gas giant if it does have the chance. So it could be interesting to see how that unfolds. Looks like Ander's just hanging on in there, though, for the time being. Not sure it's going to be around forever, though. An Emperor as well, another world under threat. 2 ice giants. Not looking good for either of these guys, to be honest. As it slings by. Imagine if all 3 got together at the same time. That could be a catastrophic chaos there. Okay, let's continue. Evolve it as fast as we can. Can't really go much quicker than that. You can see those orbits are changing. No, they're not going to be around forever. It's not looking good. One of them is so going to get ejected at some point. There's no way it makes it to the end of this. It's going to be pure carnage out there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Craziness already. You can see they're getting bent as well. They're not all spherical orbits. You can see some of them are already on inclined orbit. Some of these guys, they're all flat originally. Okay. Look at both those guys. Those poor 2 ice giants have just been slung around. And if they get too far slung out, the brown dwarf could have something to say about it as well. The brown dwarf could just take them away. So it's even more massive than BB is. So remember, this is 50 Jupiters, isn't it? That's over 5 times more powerful in mass-wise than BB is here, the dominant gas giant. So that's an enormous mass, an enormous presence to the brown dwarf. Maybe next episode, maybe it will slowly... Oh, there you go. So it's having an interaction there with the banded world. But maybe the brown dwarf would slowly creep itself inwards over a long period of time. Maybe its orbit decreases in length. Maybe it gets pulled into the parent star. Maybe we'll have to see what happens there next time. Stay tuned for that, maybe. But there we go. As we're continuing to evolve, we're going to finish off for today, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed this first part of the next Birth to Death system. I think we've got quite a good one cooking up here. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. I'm quite excited to see where this continues on to. But yeah, make sure if you haven't already to hit that like button. Let's see if we can go for 200 likes a day on this Birth to Death system. Because yeah, this is a pretty cool one. And also subscribe if you haven't already. Helps on the journey to 40,000 subscribers as we're getting closer and closer by the day. I really appreciate all your guys' support and all the feedback you give. Really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, that will send guys. Make sure you'll stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.